Hello, Cancer. Thank you for joining me for your monthly forecast for August for the Sun or the Ascendant. And this month begins with the Sun in the part of your horoscope to do with foundations. Now, you also have Mercury in this location too, as well as the North Node. So it's an opportunity to think very carefully about how you can create greater security, stability, but also because of Mercury's retrograde, we have to be realistic that it's possible that if you're looking to increase your earnings in any way, that there could be some delays or some misunderstandings potentially. So really managing your communication around anything to do with resources will frankly be very important. But of course, Jupiter, the planet of growth, continues in the most glorious part of your horoscope, your love sector, and that is going to be in a right angle with the Sun from the 3rd through to the 10th. So what does this mean? Well, it means that you could find yourself really tempted to be a little bit more extravagant, certainly perhaps even very generous. Now, this could be to people who are very dear to you, a partner, your children, or it's possible that you may find yourself drawn more towards calorific goodies. So if you're visiting a summer barbecue, it may be rather hard to say no to that extra glass of Pimm's and that chocolate cake. But more seriously, this could also see you tempted to splash out on something, be more risk-taking about a project or an idea when it would be better to be more conservative with your resources. So although the Sun and the partial solar eclipse, which occurs on the 11th, can be entirely positive for you and give you a leg up over the next 6 months in terms of developing your talents and seeing more physical returns for all your hard work and enterprise, Mercury is something you do need to be careful about. Now, of course, Mars also is continuing its retrograde in the sign of Aquarius. But the interesting news is that it goes back into your opposite sign of Capricorn on the 13th, where it will be through to the 9th of September. So you've got a bit of a month, a slice of a month across 2 months, which is going to see you potentially being more combative in your approach to relationships or more desirous of finding exactly the right type of tie. But with Uranus continuing its right angle with Mars in the first 3 weeks of this month, across Mars's inversion from the sign of Aquarius back into Capricorn, it's still going to be squaring up with Mars, even though they share the same triplicity on a disassociate basis. What I would be saying to you here is that Mars is making you quite desirous of intimacy, potentially, of a material success, of improving your lot in terms of business, but also being much closer to another person and collaborating on a very intimate basis. But with Uranus there as well, in any kind of intimate relationship, if your freedom, your independence, your ability to be a flowing spirit in your own image is being inhibited in any way at all, I do feel that there could be some sparks that fly this month. And that's because Uranus in the sign of Taurus through till November, before it comes back and goes full-time from the 19th of March next year for 7 years. Well, Uranus in Taurus is challenging the stability of Taurus. And this is the part of your horoscope to do with your future, your highest values, and also your friendships. So Uranus in this area could make you a little bit more restless around these areas, but also more open to new ways of doing things, being more innovative. So if you're in any kind of closed situation, which stops you breathing and really growing in the way you want, because of course Aquarius is the ruler of Uranus too, where Mars is initially in the first 2 weeks of this month, I think you may find that you could be much more rebellious than your reputation often belies. Now, generally, Cancerian people have a huge dislike of direct confrontation, but that doesn't mean to say that you don't get the desire to interact with people and to reach a biting point between you. It's just the way you go about it is not necessarily very shouty or vocal or particularly visible. But I do feel that there could be some politics this month. I think that's the key. And some shifts in the Teutonic plates in very long-standing relationships or any tie, even if it's more recent, or friendship, which you're not being quite the free spirit you want. You feel inhibited. That is definitely a possibility. Now, Venus is going to be moving on the 7th, and also Uranus goes into a retrograde. But Venus moves into the sign of Libra, which is its home zone, one of its 2 home zones. And for you, that's very much about home, family. It's about feeling very comfortable in your environs. If you're wanting to move, this could give you an idealised view of the type of property you'd like to live in. Equally, it could see you redecorating, spending more time in your garden, trying to find tranquility. And in a relationship, if you feel it's not very nurturing or two-way, in terms of that extra stability and security you're looking for, then Venus moving through this particular zodiac sign could inform your views, could see you becoming a bit more reflective and thoughtful, but also withdrawing to some degree. Now, once we get through to the 18th, Mercury ends its retrograde. It doesn't necessarily mean that if money is owed to you, it's going to suddenly come through the letterbox the following day or electronically, but it does help, because Mercury won't get back to the place when the retrograde began until the 2nd of September, even if it is going forwards. So just be conscious of that. But you're one of the greatest managers of resources in the zodiac and can micromanage absolutely anything to get the most from it. I really admire that about you, Cancerians. I really, really do. You make brilliant managers. But I do feel that you can't control everything. So all you can do is control the bits that you can and make sure that you're alert to any kind of misinformation, misunderstandings that you may encounter. If you do make any purchases, particularly on the back of that flamboyant right angle between the Sun and Jupiter, I keep the receipts in case you change your mind and think it was more frivolous rather than something that had actual physical value to you. Now that takes us through to the 23rd of the month, when the Sun moves into Virgo. For you, this is great. This is going to see a speeding up of events. Your mind's going to become more crystal clear. And also, because we have on the 26th a full moon in Pisces, I think anything to do with communication is really going to be very important to you in the following few weeks. But this full moon also links into Saturn and Uranus, which are continuing to forge a brilliant link this month. So if there is a relationship, a friendship, or a cause where you're collaborating and cooperating with someone and it really makes sense, it could be that this is developing in a very step-by-step, progressive way. But I think it does need to be one where some kind of innovation is concerned. Also, Jupiter continues to forge a beautiful angle to Neptune. If you're travelling with someone that you're very fond of, going to see any concerts, or perhaps you're more interested in the more spiritual domain, these two aspects can also, these 2 planets can also be greatly enriching for you. Now, Mars comes out of the retrograde on the 27th, I think is great, but I still feel where you're not feeling particularly recognised, acknowledged, or affirmed, you could be much more outspoken than people are used to. And this is going to be a trend, particular trend, from the middle of March next year. And you may start to articulate frustrations in a much more direct way than you've ever done before. But see that as an exciting opportunity. I'm really sorry that this forecast has been delivered so much later this month. I have been struggling with my issues with rheumatoid arthritis. And of course, all the good stuff I'm taking and the medication is still working its way in. I will endeavour to try to do September by about the 3rd week of August and try and catch up a little bit. I'm very grateful for all the kind comments and suggestions that have come in, which I've listened to some of and acted upon. But for now, thank you for joining me. I'd love it if you would like, comment, or subscribe to my channel if you've yet to do so. Thank you. Hello, thank you so much for watching my video. I'd love you to join me at my Horoscope Ace app. You can find this at www.horoscope-ace.com. You can use it through Android, iOS, Apple or Facebook. Check out your ascendant or your moon sign or download your free birth chart. There's all your favourite videos, plus there are daily, weekly, monthly and yearly horoscopes for general, love, Chinese and Indian astrology. If your passion is tarot, there's my brilliant 3-card money or love tarot readings too. And it's all there at www.horoscope-ace.com. Thank you.